This is the 20th season of Bass Talk Live. BTL is presented by Bass Cat Boats, Strike King Lures, AFTCO, Pro Guide Batteries, Spro, Gamakatsu, The Bass Tank, Denali Rods, Beatdown Outdoors, and Sunline.
BTL coming at you.
Good morning, and welcome to another exciting edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where we are going to talk about bass fishing. So I got up this morning, and I typically, I'm a big Black Rifle Coffee Company guy in the morning. Not sponsored by them, never been sponsored by them. I just enjoy the coffee and the fact that they have a long history of supporting the outdoors and fishing. But we've got this coffee place called Dutch Brothers in Shawnee here. And they make some stuff. They're pretty sure they add crack to some of their stuff. But this is called like a Golden Eagle drink. Anyway, long story short, I'm leaving at 7:30, and they've been, if you've noticed, like decent internet signal over the past like week or two, but like little dicey at times. And I think it's something with the trees. So I've got like 9 tree service trucks out in front, and one of them flagged me down as I was going out to get the coffee, and he's like, "Hey man, like, can we park our trucks in your yard while we trim the trees around?" So they're working around like internet and power lines and all sorts of stuff out there. So hopefully on this Tuesday, October 15th, 2024, we will have a solid signal, but no promises. So all right, a lot going on in the world of professional bass fishing. It is actually like the first cold morning. I think I got out and it was like 50 degrees on the dot when I got outside. A far cry from the conditions that the anglers are facing at the One Bass U.S. Open over on Lake Mojave. I just had that pulled up. Former U.S. Open champs, West Coast legends galore at the top of the leaderboard after day one. Remember, this is a 3-day tournament. 3-day tournament. AAA weight counts for the pros. Pros counts for AAA. You fish with 3 different guys each day. 5 biggest fish each day combined. So former champ Kyle Grover, 22-15 with a 499 big, and 99% of these are all smallmouth guys. Mojave smallmouth just look like tanks. They actually are probably some of the closest looking smallmouth just from pictures. I've never seen them in person, but just from pictures, some of the smallest or closest looking smallmouth to the Thousand Islands smallmouth, just absolute units. West Coast stalwart and Elite Series angler Bryant Smith in second, 22-14. Zaldane, 2087. Bertrand, 2071. Like, dude, those are the top 4 right there. Kyle Grover, Bryant Smith, Chris Zaldane, and Josh Bertrand. I don't mean to pass anyone up. I'm sure I'm passing up some, but I see Luke Clausen in the number 8 spot. Spencer Sheffield in number 11. Luke Johns, Austin Bonjour, Roy Hawk, Joe Arube. Dude, it is an absolute. There's my boy Rick Harrison, 27th with 1821. It is absolutely stacked. 19 pounds or better. 17 bags. Very impressive. Not Lake Mead. Remember the U.S. Open, which made its which became famous, as Rick Clunn said, probably the difficult tournament in the world to win. Where anything in the double digits, typically when they used to have it in the summer, it was just absolutely brutal. Then they moved it to the fall, a little bit better weights in the fall there, but then they moved it to Mojave, and it's just, you saw Bertrand won that before, Kyle Grove, a lot of guys, but yeah, basically it looks like you're going to need around 60, 61 pounds of a smallmouth to get the job done. We got a good guest today. He's been on the show a number of different times. And he's pretty good at catching big smallmouth too. I think he actually made the Elite Series 3 years ago based on the back of a couple bags of big smallmouth. So that is Alex Redwine, who considers himself a kid from Ohio. typically the Ohio guys, if we get Ohio guys on, we're talking Charlie Hartley, we're talking Michael Simonton. But now we got Alex Redwine. What's up, dude?
What's up? Thanks for having me on. Yeah, from Ohio. It's starting to cool down a little bit here too. So you talk about smallmouth, that's getting pretty close. A little beat down action.
How far are you from like really good smallmouth fishing, like from Ohio?
So I'm in Cincinnati, which is like the southwest corner. But it's about like 3.5 hours to get to Lake Erie or the Detroit River or St. Clair. So
Yeah, that's fair. That's like about what it is from like here to Wolf Creek on Grand. Like you can do it in a day if you really want to, but if you're going to do it for a couple days, you gotta stay up there.
yeah.
Do you go more, would you say, to St. Clair or to Erie?
I feel like I like St. Clair a lot better. I used to just straight up hate Lake Erie. Like a few years ago, I would just get so overwhelmed because it was when I was starting to like first learn, I guess, the whole smallmouth thing. This is probably in like 2020, 2019. Like I straight up hated Erie because it was just nothing but rocks, and I had no idea what the heck I was even looking for. And there was just drum everywhere. But slowly, I've been starting to get a grasp on that giant body of water.
It is you guys are on the you guys have an Elite Series tournament on St. Clair next year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had one there 2 years ago, or yeah, 2 years ago. There was an open there this year, which I
Yeah.
fished, and then yeah, we have another one there. So looking forward to those for sure.
Awesome. When I I booked this with you, well, let's run through this because I've not really asked you about this. So I called you last week or the week, but right when the hurricane was barreling towards the west coast of Florida, and I was like, "Hey man, what's up? Great story. Congrats on making the classic. Want to get you on BTL." And you're like, "I'm currently towing my boat to Florida." And I was like, "Wait, what?" And then explain what that was like, where you actually were. And because I was like, dude, like I know you're helping like with some cleanup stuff down there, had some family down there that you're working with. And I was like, if it doesn't pan out, like if you're still down there picking up debris on the 15th, we can push this back. But was that an interesting journey?
Yeah, so I think it was last Tuesday is when you got a hold of me, and Wednesday was when that Hurricane Milton came through. And my parents are snowbirds. They stay in Florida for the winter, and I was towing my dad's truck and boat down there for him. But the way that it kind of all lined up, I was going down there literally the day after the hurricane came through. But the way that they're located in Florida, it was in the center of the state. Technically, it was right where the eye passed over. It was they live around the Kissimmee chain, so not on the coast or anything like that. But yeah, it was just kind of interesting going down. Like I'd pass for every 50 gas stations. I think I went down there. I went down there on Friday, so I guess it would be 2 days after. I ended up going down there on Friday, 2 days after the hurricane passed. But for every like 50 or 60 gas stations I saw, only one of them would have gas. It was pretty surreal and kind of crazy.
So you just had to like every time you could get gas, you just had to pull over and get it.
Yeah, whether I was at 3/4 of a tank or half a tank, and the amount of, like, electrical trucks or, like, lineman trucks that were also going south, I assume to help out with everything was pretty crazy too. No joke, probably saw or passed over a couple thousand of those, those electrical, like, big Super Duty trucks that have the tower, the
Mm-hmm.
thingy on them, lineman trucks or whatever you wanna call it. So, it was pretty crazy just what all was flooding into Florida, and traffic was really bad because everyone that escaped to go north from the hurricane was now going south to check on their homes and wherever they evacuated from. So just kind of crazy to see the state of Florida like that.
And no damage to where your folks were staying, or were you part of that deal where like the entire state was a tornado warning, or was that?
Suppose supposedly, like I said, we weren't. I wasn't there when things were going down, but supposedly, like our neighbor said that when all that was happening, they saw like a tornado to the east of them, like a couple miles, and a tornado to the west of them, a couple miles. But supposedly there was like 10 or a dozen tornadoes that ended up sprouting from that hurricane.
That's wild. And then you got back from Florida, what, this past weekend?
I got back yesterday. I flew in yesterday.
And then you've been on a pickleball bender since then.
Pretty much, yeah. I played pickleball for like 2 or 3 hours last night. That's like a typical day though. I'll either wake up in the morning and play pickleball, or I'll play in the evening. I'd probably play like at least probably 5 times a week. I'm just ate up with it.
Okay, explain this to me. Like I know that it's like it's like a thing right now, like it has been for the last couple years. I thought it was more. I thought like if you're gonna play pickleball, maybe you'd be like down in Florida playing pickleball at like the retirement community. But apparently, there's like a thriving like pickleball leagues and stuff for like guys like you that are in the prime of your athletic career.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people think that like pickleball is just like a lazy tennis sport. But I've never played tennis or anything. I feel like it's in between ping pong and tennis. It's like this hybrid in between, but it's like it's not lazy at all. Like it takes a lot of tactic, like a lot of ball placement. Like there's a lot to go on, and it's like it gets me moving, and I could use a little exercise or whatever. But yeah, I'm made up with it. There's old people that play. You can play if you're old. It's not a young person's game. There's young people that play that are really good, and I'm somewhere in between, I guess.
I'm looking at this now. There's like professional pickleball leagues.
Yeah, it's on TV and everything, and there's big names, and there's probably big sponsorship dollars in it with all the paddles and different brands and stuff.
Do you play doubles or singles?
So it's all doubles, where there's two people on each side.
How do you determine who your partner? Do you have like a pickleball partner? Is that kind of like a team partner in fishing?
Yeah, I play with a few buddies.
But I'm just showing the top 10 pickleball highlights at 2024. So.
I play with some buddies here and there, but a lot of times there's a big facility down in like downtown Cincinnati that has like 20 something odd courts, and I'll just show up by myself, and there'll be sometimes 50 or 100 people there, and you just kind of put your paddle in a paddle system, and when a court opens up, they pick the next two paddles, so I'll just play with random people. But
wait, you put your like paddle in the middle, and then they just like toss a paddle onto the court, and whichever court your paddle lands on, that's where you go?
No, it's like a rack system.
That's what it sounded like to me.
There's like a rack system. There'll be like 20 paddles in a rack, and when a court opens up, typically it's 2 on, 2 off. So it's like you whoever the losers leave, and then the winners stay on for up to 2 games, and after those 2 games, they'll pick the next 2 paddles, and you'll go to the court and play. But yeah, there's a lot of tough competition in Cincinnati.
Is that like a giant ping pong ball? It's not a tennis ball. It seems way lighter.
No, it's not a wiffle ball to say, but it's like very similar to a wiffle ball where like you can hit it fast, but at the same time there's holes in it, so it kind of slows it down some. But yeah, like you can see all the tactics that those people are doing. Like they're hitting it hard, they're hitting it soft. There's different rules. The lines mean different
fist
things,
pump,
and
people going nuts in the crowd. Who is like the well, KVD's retired now. Who are we using now, Alex? Who are we using as the KVD of other sports now? Is it Jacob Wheeler right now?
Yeah, I feel like
it would have to be. Who's the KVD? Like if you were to, how we'd be like, who's the KVD of archery, or who's the KVD of billiards? Who's the KVD of pickleball?
Probably I don't keep up with it a crazy amount, but probably this guy named Ben Johns. He has paddle names after him and everything. I think for a while he was ranked number 1 in the world. I think now he's number 2 in the world. But yeah, Ben Johns.
Ben Johns, here he is.
Like heck, I have one of his paddles. That's the paddle that I use, is the Ben Johns.
Yeah, here's Ben Johns on how he sets up his paddle. So you tape the paddle and stuff?
Yeah, there's like tape, like grip tape, same that would be on a tennis racket to say.
Were you a tennis guy?
No.
Is that him right there?
Yeah, that is. That's the same paddle that I have too.
What just a strong jawline on Ben Johns right there. Jula. Oh, that makes sense. I think no. What have you ever gone after? Maybe there could be a crossover here where you could have a pickleball wrap on the Elite Series, and then based on the towns that you stop on, you go to their pickleball court. You park the boat and truck, and you play pickleball with the fans. I'm dead serious, dude. Like, I guarantee you, there's not been an Elite Series pro that's made a run at a pickleball sponsorship.
Oh, I believe it. It could definitely work. I don't know if you remember any of like the photo albums from our Elite event on Champlain.
Oh yeah, you guys did do a whole pickleball excursion. Yeah,
we had an off day, and some of us went to like the local YMCA, and yeah, we were tearing it up. Some people that like really stuck out. Matt Airy is really good at pickleball. Carl Jochimson is really good at pickleball because Carl said that he used to play in Australia. He used to play, what's it called, squash or something. Some, have you ever heard of that?
Now, I thought their national pastime was running from poisonous snakes.
It's like squash is like some sort of
Squash?
handball. Yeah, it's like a
I've
hand.
heard of squash.
I forget if it's a handball thing or if it's paddles or what, but they were freaking naturals at it. And Matt Airy, he actually fishes or not fishes. He actually plays in pickleball tournaments back home, supposedly.
Oh, I think squash is like legit. Like it's where they kind of put you in like a prison cell. That's squash, isn't it?
I think so.
You have to like hit it below or above the line and then it bounces and then I believe that's squash.
That's what Carl said that he used to do all the time in Australia. So he kind of had the knack for pickleball when we played.
I could see that because Carl has like he works out like 17 hours a day. Was Matt Airy was good though?
Yeah, he was really good. He said he plays all the time. He was better than me. Like he has so there's something called a duper score in pickleball, and it's like pretty much how your skill level is ranked. And he was like a
Like your
4.
handicap in golf.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and he was like a 4. I forget what he said, like a 4.3 or something. But I don't have a score or anything just because I've never really like played in tournaments, or I'm not like that. I'm just a recreational pickleballer. But yeah, he plays in tournaments. He has like an official like standing supposedly on 4 point something, which is really good. Anything above 4 is pretty good.
You can do it. I just found a video how to determine your pickleball rating.
I feel like we're so invested in this now. People
I
are
know.
just
I feel like you have to I feel like you kind of have to get a rating now. What do you
Yeah.
think your rating would be? You think you would be in the 4s if you actually went through the process?
I really don't know. Every day is different, I feel like, but I feel like if I'm not a 4.0, I feel like I gotta be pretty dang close.
If you could be uh, a pickleball pro or an elite series pro, but you could only choose one for the next 20 years, which one are you going with?
I'd be a fishing pro, I think. I'd stick with it. I bet there wouldn't be as much drama in pickleball though. That's the only thing.
Dude, I bet there is. I bet you get to the top of any of those things, and I bet there's drama in every single one of them. You just
Yeah.
you just don't pull you're just not in the know, like you're not behind the curtain, you're not in the backstage seeing it. I bet it's a total gong show in the underbelly of the professional pickleball league.
Yeah.
I bet all of them are like that. I bet it's just not fishing. I think it's just because we live in that world, and you, particularly as Elite Series Pro, you hear everything, you see everything. But I promise you, the average guy who turns it on FS2 on the weekend and watches it for a couple hours, no clue what's going on behind the scenes. He just wants to see big bass get caught. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Are you also a road biker?
No, this isn't mine.
Oh, I was gonna say it's been a while since I've seen the bike with the ram handlebars on it.
No, I live in Cincinnati. Or I don't live with my parents. I live with some buddies that I went to college with, bachelor pad, if you will. But yeah, this is one of theirs. I guess they ride a lot.
All right, 20 minutes in. God, we just talked about pickleball for 20 minutes. God bless America. You kind of cut it close this year, Alex. 40th place, actually, as far as like the guys who are in, you don't have to rely on anything else or whatever. Like you were in. Were you sweating the thing out at the end of the year, heading into the St. Lawrence River, and then being like, oh no, this is going to be a lot closer than I thought?
Yeah, I really did it to myself with that 40th place finish. Going into the St. Lawrence, I believe I was in like 24th in points. And the St. Lawrence River, like I was really trying to. I'm not one of those people that just stares at the standings and like tries to see like where I'm going to be at. Um, with the points, if I'm for sure in, if I have to place a certain amount of finish or not. But I was really trying to judge the points going into. I think I was in 24th or 25th in points going into the St. Lawrence. And we only had 2 days of practice at the St. Lawrence because one of the days, the event before at Champlain, we got canceled because of wind or whatever. So I just didn't know if I had to lay up or if I could just go for broke, and if I sucked, then I can still make the classic. I really wasn't sure. And we only had 2 days of practice. The first day of practice, I went out to the lake, which was 90 something miles from where the tournament was out of. Waddington is where we were out of, and the lake is way over yonder. And it just was like it was so. I think the first day of practice maybe had like 21, 22 pounds, but it was just very so, just kind of hit and miss. And I was like, well, what should I do now? And then so I was like, well, the second day of practice, I'm gonna go to the river, go up closer to where the ramp is. My boat is also a 2021 Phoenix that has right now it has 1,000 hours on it. I got
Wow.
that. Yeah, it has 1,020. I looked the other day. Um, but not saying that I
Smart.
don't trust, not saying that I don't trust that boat, but I don't want to take that boat on a 200-mile round trip run unless I really have to, just because there's a lot of stuff that can go wrong. Even though I have not had anything go wrong with my boat, literally, it's a good lemon. The motor is a good lemon. But
And
so the
they're the
second
ones
day,
who need to be paying you. Screw the guys getting the boat every year. They need to be forking it out to Alex Redwine. Look at this.
no, literally, that's what I'm dealing with this year.
1,300 hours on this sucker, and he's still making classics.
Yeah, that's literally like this is my first year like navigating a boat and motor deal or like trying to start that partnership and stuff. So I've been learning a lot because I
Ooh,
got
we'll
that.
get into that later. I want to get. Oh, still, I'm
Okay,
sorry. I didn't mean
okay.
to derail you from the St. Lawrence.
Yeah. So day two of practice, I stayed close by in the river and I mustered and I caught like I thought I could catch anywhere from 19 to 22 pounds, which is like not crazy on the St. Lawrence, but it should like do okay and survive. Well, day one, I decided of the tournament, I decided to stay close to Waddington, and had some drifts where I really had confidence that I could catch fish on because of how practice went. And I just had one of those days that was just god awful. I didn't lose any fish. It was just I felt like I just couldn't do anything right, couldn't get a bite, and I feel very vulnerable saying this, but literally day one of the St. Lawrence River, I caught 11 pounds of smallmouth bass. Um, and yeah, you were hyping me up earlier about how like I'm a big smallmouth guy, whatever. But I literally caught 11 pounds of the St. Lawrence smallmouth, and I never spun out or anything. It was just one of those days where I just didn't get a bite, didn't get big bites or whatever. And after day one, I found myself literally in like 100th place. There was like two people below me. Like I don't know if they blanked or didn't make it back or broke down, but I was in like there's 100 and what 103 of us on the elite series, and I was in 100th. I was in 100th place with 11 pounds, and then so after that day, I looked at the AOY standings and I was like, well, that's pretty dang close. If a couple people do a little bit better, they can hopscotch me. Like I was right in that. I think I was in 41st or 40th place. I don't know. After day one in the points, and so I was like, huh, what should I do now? And then I was like, well, best case scenario is I catch like 20 something pounds and maybe I gain like 5 points, which means a lot. So then I did what I should have done, and like what everyone else did, I ran 120 miles one way and caught my 21 or 22 pounds of smallmouth, and then went from 100th place to like 92nd place and gained a couple points or something, and then secured my spot in the classic.
Uh, what is it? I mean, I'm asking you like you're about to fish in your first Bassmaster Classic. Is that already on your mind? But you're talking about it. Talk about what it means to know that in March you'll be in Fort Worth, Texas, at Dickies Arena, weighing in and like crossing the classic stage for the first time, especially when you look back at the last 5 years of your career.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it a lot. It is really cool. Like I'm excited I qualified. Like I'm excited. Obviously, I'm excited I qualified, but it's just kind of crazy. Like it's just crazy how bad I look back on it. It's crazy how bad like I was wanting it and was hungry for it. Like this was my third year on the Elite Series, and it's like, dang, like why didn't I do this good the other few years on the Elite Series? Why did it take me this long to qualify for my first classic? But at the same time, I'm super grateful um, to qualify. But it's just crazy. Like the last 3 years, I've been at the expo in the classic and like watching my colleagues and in this sport, like watching them walk across that stage and catch fish on that stage, and also like being a roommate and travel partner with Jay Shakur, who's just an animal at bass fishing. It's been kind of like not jealousy, but it's just been like, dang, like he is absolutely killing it. And it's like, heck, I didn't even qualify for the classic yet, and here he is knocking
Does
it out
he
of the
ever get
park.
fired up? Like,
Nah,
is the like calm, cool? Like, I mean, his dad's like that too. Every time I've been around him, like they just seem like literally like the most level-headed, calm, cool. Like everything in the world could be getting around, and they just be like, yeah, no, this is not. I mean, this is happening, but there's zero. Like that dude is like ice in his veins from the outside. Is that how he is always, or does that dude like cut up?
that's how he is pretty much all the time. Like, I mean, like me and him travel together. We're with each other all the time. We talk about practice. We talk about the tournament, and that's just him. That's him all the time. Like sometimes we'll get like a little worked up, like if something isn't going his way or something like maybe pissed him off or
Like,
something.
what do you
Like
mean
some
worked up? Like, explain a Shakur meltdown to me.
okay, like
Like,
uh,
I just don't see. Is he like yell? Is he throwing
no,
stuff?
he does. No, he doesn't yell, but he'll just be like, let's say he loses a big fish, or maybe someone cuts him off, or he sees something on the water that he doesn't like. It's just like him being like, "What the heck?" Like it's very like just not very into it. Just like, "What the heck?" Like,
Yell. Have you ever
but
heard
like,
him yell?
no, I mean, I've probably like maybe heard him like yell a few like bad like cuss words, but besides
But
that,
you've
like,
never heard him just like come back and be like, "You won't believe what the hell happened to me today, Alex."
yeah, pretty much.
No.
No, yeah, it's all what you see is exactly how he is, pretty much.
God, that's scary because that's a dude who is like there is no way that you could get him off of his game.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen him spun out. He just he just takes whatever the lake or whatever the fish give him.
Wow. And how did you guys end up rooming together? Just
It was honestly because of this podcast. Our
what?
we qualified the same year through the opens.
Right?
Qualified through a different division. I think it was essentials, and I qualified through the northerns. And like you had him on the podcast right after he qualified. Then like the next week you had me on right after I qualified on the podcast, and then we like messaged, or I forget, he messaged me or I messaged him or something, was like, "Hey, like saw you on the BTL. I didn't know you were, I think at the time we were 21 or 22. Like,
Yeah.
hey, I didn't know you were young too, or around the same age. Like, you traveling with anybody?" And I was like, "No, don't have anyone traveling with." And then from there on, we just ever since our rookie year, we started traveling together.
That's I feel somewhat responsible for that with my Alex. It's now, right? Grappling, like a lot of people don't know. Yeah, I just turned 40 in August,
Mm.
and I had like some of the guys in the opens, like I'll call and be like, hey, you want to jump on BTL? I do a podcast Monday through Thursday. It's called Bass Talk Live. And I had one I won't say. It's like, yeah, dude, I've been listening to you since I was 11. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's happening. And then I was talking to James Nigmeyer yesterday on the phone, and we were doing the same thing. I can't remember where it was. It was someone who was talking, and I would love to remember where I heard it. I just consume so much bass fishing content and media and videos that I lose track sometimes. But they're talking about how like Dakota Eber snuck into the Elite Series like on the tail end of his career, because he's like 30 and like, that's kind of old to get started in it now. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's freaking shocking now. But James was like, dude, he's like, it happens in a blink of an eye. He's like, one day you go out and you're the young, hungry guy, and the next day you launch your vote and you're the wily veteran. he's like, I don't know how it happened. It's just, I mean, like you are too, dude. Like you're going into your 4th year. There's so many guys that are like, you were the youngest, the least experienced. Now you're going into your 4th year, and there's guys that are 3-4 years younger than you out there now. Is that hard to believe?
Yeah, it definitely is. Like, I still feel like I'm like I gotta still be like one of the young ones.
Yeah.
But I'm in reality I'm not like. But it's just crazy like the degree of anglers that some of these younger guys are, and I don't know, like it's just crazy. Like this year, for instance, They were all besides, I guess, Milliken, like, for the most part, they were all young, like, they were all in their 20s or however old they were. So them coming in, like, like, I thought, like, "Oh, they're rookies, man, like, they're young, they don't know what to expect," and then it's just like, boom, slap in the face, here they are tearing it up. So it's just funny to think about. Same with the rookies that just qualified, like, you think, like, "Oh, man, like, I
They're
got
gonna
4."
catch him.
Yeah, like, I got 3 or 4 years on them, like, they've only been doing this open stuff for a little bit, or they're still in their early 20s, but then it's just like, boom, like, no, that's not the case. They mean business. They're gonna be ready just as ready as I am.
We're kind of in the middle of Opens Week. Actually, 2 shows today. I recorded with Dakota Ebear last night. Incredible show. Really enjoyed that show with Dakota. But I had to work around him trying to kill a deer. So I had to do the recording last night, and then there were like a bunch of other shows that were going live, so I didn't go live. So I'll drop that sometime this week. But yeah, like name one of these 9 guys that aren't going to catch him: Easton Fothergill, Cody Meyer, Tucker Smith, who's actually on live tomorrow. First time I've had Tucker on BTL. Paul Marks, Emil Wagner, Andrew Loberg, Ebear, Bo Browning, and Evan Cugg. Like, dude, between last year and this year, those guys are going to eat up 15 checks between the last 2 rookie classes at every single stop this year on the
Mhm.
Elite Series.
Yeah, oh, for sure. And just like how some of the events, or we go to Okeechobee, they were there, like, you were there too, like, dang near the same time last year, and just like certain little things that it just breeds them so well. I mean, they all have success.
What looking back on it, what is the toughest thing about being a rookie or a first or second year pro on the Elite Series?
I feel like for me was the whole like networking thing. Like I look back on it, like when qualified, like not saying it wasn't important, but I just feel like it wasn't glorified as nearly as much as it is now. Maybe that was because it was different because they took the top 3 from each division. There wasn't the whole EQ thing. But, when I first entered the Elite Series, I was like, I literally don't know anybody, not just anglers, but just like networking side. Like since then, like I've met so many great people in the industry with companies and things like that, and you're just there's no guidebook, or there's no instructions on how to get yourself in the fishing industry, and how to not just the actual fishing part of it, not just catching bass, but building building that foundation and that brand. There's no guidebook to it. That's the biggest thing that I've struggled with, or was the hardest for me.
It seems like you've really kind of developed a nice little sponsor portfolio though in the 3 years. Is that a fair assessment? It seems like every year you kind of more and more, a little bit more traction, a little bit more sponsor relationships.
Yeah, it definitely has been. It's like it's always like you always. It seems like for me, I'll always make a connection, or have this partnership that kind of ignites like when I least expect it. It's because it's there's just so much with like the whole sponsorship and marketing and branding, and it's also what I'm starting to learn is like my value is not like the professional bass fisherman's value is with sponsorships and stuff is not nearly what it seemed to be years ago. I'm sure everyone's seeing that, or you see it, but it's like wrapped boats and jerseys just don't mean what they used to anymore. And it's just the sport's so diluted, and the way that social media has changed so much. And it's just, I'm sure I'm just preaching to the choir
You
here,
sound
but
like a jaded professional egg. You sound like you've been doing it for 40 years.
back in my day, it's not what it
Tell
used to
man,
be.
you get paid for the jersey.
Yeah, but that's been the toughest thing. It's like I don't have the little niches and stuff on social media, or I don't have these giant YouTube followings. So I'm trying to make a brand for myself, and trying to be sustainable and fish. And it's easy to look back and be like, "Oh, man, well, you need to start pumping out the videos and the Instagram reels and stuff. That's how you like make money and get sponsorship monies." And it's like, well, yeah, like you can focus on that side of the industry. You can focus on trying to make content, or you can focus on trying to catch fish. And I'd rather focus on trying to catch fish instead of spreading myself out in these two different realms of social media, and then also trying to do good at your job. So that's been the biggest balance that I've had to figure out.
Speaking of catching fish, we're gonna take our first break. We're halfway through the show, so probably the only break. But when we come back, I do want to pick your brain on some of the trends and techniques that you saw over this past year. I just got back from Japan a couple weeks ago, and literally was kind of like shell shocked when I walked into a couple of these tackle stores. But there's some crazy stuff that seems like it's definitely not only just making its way to the United States, but becoming a player on a weekly basis. It seems like there's something new that's hitting it. So I want to chat and pick your brain with that. Alex Redwine, Bassmaster Classic qualified Elite Series Pro on BTL on a Tuesday. We'll be back right after this.
The new Puma STS has been redesigned from the ground up. With the angler, design, function, and performance in mind, nothing on this new offering was compromised, and the only thing carried over from the previous version is the name. Based on the Soft Touch series hull that started with the flagship Jaguar, this new model is nimble and performs incredibly well at all speeds with either a 250 or 300 horsepower engine. Featuring a new 96-inch wide-body footprint, this hull measures out at 20 foot 7 inches in length. Industry-leading design coupled with tournament-winning performance. The Puma STS from Basscat. Feel the rush.
This is Gamakatsu's new Nano Alpha line of hooks. If it looks familiar, that's because they are. It's the same shapes and sizes in the round bend and the EWG and in the new Horizon head that you know and love from Gamakatsu, but there are a couple new features with this Nano Alpha, which is this little green label that you see on the packaging. First off, 2 times faster hook penetration. That's because of the Nano Alpha smooth coating on it, and also it is 4 times more corrosion resistant. Check it out, Nano Alpha.
I've been using Sunline Shooter for the majority of my career. Millions of dollars made, lots of bass caught, and the gnarly, gnarly stuff. If you need a abrasion resistant, tough fishing line for the really, really mean stuff, Sunline Shooter is for you.
Everything you need, one legendary brand. Top 100, Strike King.
Gear that just plain works. Cast after cast after cast. AFCO. Any fish, any water.
Your early morning mentality is your every hour mentality. All gas, no brakes. Focus, purpose, power. Destined for the water, but confident everywhere else. A calming buzz before the storm, truth of nature itself. You can't catch lightning in a bottle. There's a limit out there, but it's not with your gear. Unrelenting power delivery. Unparalleled weight savings. Keeping you on the water, whether you run a 9.9 or outscoping your best 5. In this rare air, there's power in the silence. It's a mindset, thinking only of the things that matter and freeing your mind from the things that you trust.
Get the best patterns backed by tournament data. Start by finding the best 10% of your lake. Know exactly what to look for and what to throw. After that, just put them in the boat. Try the Deep Dive app today.
Look at that beast right there.
All right, welcome back. BTL on Tuesday, chatting with Alex Redwine. Fishing wise, let's talk fishing stuff. Do you understand this like dice rubber stuff sticking out of plastics from 2 inches all the way up to, and like, why did the UV whiskers not work when it was out? Like, it seems like you can't throw a plastic now without some sort of weird strands of crap sticking out of it. Are you on that train? Please explain this to me, Alex.
I have not tried the dice yet, but I have heard like the magical stuff that it could possibly do. It's funny you said the UV. Like, are you talking about like the tight lines UV?
Yeah, remember when they came out with Tyline's UV whiskers,
dude.
and they'd have like a beaver, but there'd be like 3 strands of skirt material sticking out, and everybody was like, the hell is this? And then it was in the bargain bin like before. Now they're looking like damn geniuses.
Yeah, it's funny you said that. I used to like live or die by that tight line UV, not necessarily the whisker ones, but like I was a full believer in the UV stuff when I was like a teenager. To say I actually won when I was 13 years old. I won the Ohio Junior State Championship with their 4-inch finesse worm, Tightlines UV, and I thought it was like, I don't know if the UV had anything to do with it or not, but in my head I thought that was the best bait there was, and I had so much confidence in it.
What was the theory behind it? Was that like the UV light like helped it show up or something?
Yeah, like certain like down like in the water column, the way that the light goes through the water column, it like gives the bass can see it better deeper in the water compared to traditional soft plastic, something with the UV technology.
Here, I'll show you this. Not a sponsor of the show, obviously, but there's been a lot of guys that have talked about it, like, because I think I don't know, it looks like they're still like rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
But look at all this thing. Like, can I click on that? I don't know what the heck that is. UV in a can? That's gotta be freaking old. Brandon Polinick looks like he's about 17 in that. There's a tube. Look at that thing.
Yeah, I remember throwing that.
Dude, maybe the whiskers will make a cut, but you don't have like a burning desire to like get on the Japanese websites and order all the dice and the, what is it, the G. Alton Jones Jr. just came out with like a rubber ball. Yeah, the G crack, like the rubber ball or whatever it's called.
Yeah, I want to get into it more, but I've like definitely explored those websites and stuff, but I just don't know what the heck I'm looking at, or I know what I'm looking at, but I just don't. There's so much of it, and it's all so expensive, where I don't know like which one actually is like the deal and which one catches fish compared to the other one.
So, my experience with the dice rubber, there it is, right there. My experience with the dice rubber was a co-angler at Leech left one in the bottom of my boat, and then I went to Canada right after that. Clearly an eyelash directly in the eyeball. Hold on, let me get centered here. That feels like there's like a knife in there. There we go, I got it. I went to Canada and I saw it on the bottom of the boat, and I was like, I'll put that on a drop shot. And I made 5 casts and I caught 5 smallmouth. But I was on an unpressured Canadian smallmouth lake where I was the only fiberglass boat that had probably been on that fishery in like 3 years.
Was it just one of those where like you were looking at it on the scope, and compared to if you were to throw something else on a drop shot, they would just completely, like, no hesitation, they would just devour it?
Yeah, they would. If it was, they would pretty much devour anything. That's the problem. So I don't know whether it was like the UV or that. So then I go to Japan a couple weeks ago, and there's like the OSP, the dice rubber, and I'm like looking at these things, and I'm like, God, they're small. I don't know what color to get, but I know what it is. And these things, even in Japan, are like $13 for 4 of these things.
Oh, jeez.
So I almost was like, I had a bunch of them, and then I was like, what am I going to do with these? Like, what? Like, I was overwhelmed. And then I like took a right down this. It was called like a Bon or Bun, the store or whatever. Entire row, like a full like Bass Pro Shop size row of nothing but plastic with silicone sticking out of it. Every shape, form, size that you could think of. It was just like an entire row of dice rubbers of 9 different brands.
Yeah, I'm definitely like in the future, I'm going to play around with it a lot. I just haven't had this time of year, I haven't had like the time to play around with it. But supposedly you talk about price. Someone was telling me about this. You know, like Temu, Like
Yeah. Yeah.
supposedly you can like find them on Temu for like cheap. I don't know if they're the same. I don't know if they're the same like quality or the same whatever components that make the dice so good. But supposedly you can get them for like super cheap or like some knockoff dice off different websites. Watch now, Temu. Now, if I ever want to buy some, now Temu will be out of them.
Dude, should I show this? I'm gonna get hate mail on this. This is gonna be like when I talked about like the crankbait that with Ask Gerald Swindle about that Ed Chambers crankbait, and then they jumped up like literally that day to like $200 a pop. I'm gonna show this. Yeah, I'm doing it.
I don't care.
You're about to get hate mail.
I've never even thrown a dice.
99 cents for a 6-piece.
All right, maybe take that off now.
Dude, that's on AliExpress. That's like the same thing as Temu, isn't it? I feel like I might have just infected my computer just by even clicking on that.
There you go. People know now.
What else do we have here? Oh, look at this one. $1.39. 5-piece. Yeah. Is it? You think that dice is like one of those deals where it's like the Cinco deal, like where the OG always is gonna have like a mental. Like it seems weird to me. Like I watch the guys making their own, and I'm like, yeah, that's just like a half a Cinco with some rubber through it. But I look at that, and I'm like, oh, look at the precision.
Yeah, that's hard to say. Yeah. I don't know. It's just crazy the stuff we do to catch that.
There's a whole handful of. Here's the Takashi 6'9" version. The rubber dice right there. Look at that. Yeah. You probably just. I probably shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry for all those people that are getting their AliExpress and Temu dice rubbers that way. But are you a minnow guy now?
Yeah. I think it was 2 years ago at Champlain. That was my first top 10 on the Elite Series. That was the first time I got like really like introduced to it. And then we went to Texas this year, and it was just pretty eye opening. Just what all can happen with a minnow and just fish behavior and fish floating around in the middle of nowhere and getting hate on social media for live scoping and minnowing and yeah.
Hey, here's a pack for $89.
4 of them. That's crazy.
Yes, right there for $89 in that pink. That's wild. I guess that color must be the money color, huh?
I suppose. I don't know. Yeah, I need to play around with it more, but I just haven't gotten there. I'll definitely be doing it next year, summer, at least see what it's all about.
What percent of fish did you catch on a spinning rod this past year from first to last tournament?
I'm trying to think.
Like 60, 70, 80%? Like, was it majority spinning rod?
So first event, Toledo Bend, I didn't do very good, but I caught them all on a spinning rod. Lake Fork, I did mediocre, caught them on a bait caster with just like a spinner bait, and I think I caught like 1 or 2 on a minnow. Where'd we go after that? We went to Florida. Where'd we go first? Harris Chain.
Yeah.
No, Harris Chain, caught them all on the jerk bait. St. John's, caught them on a spinning rod. Lake Murray, bait caster. Where else? The Wheeler Lake, bait caster. Smith Lake, minnow. Where'd we go? What do we have after that?
Then you went up north.
Yeah, Northern Swing spinning rod.
So you got a little bit of old school tendencies in you.
Yeah, because like I'm from Ohio, and like you can't hone in like your suspended fish and minnowing and
I just threw Charlie up there. I always like when Charlie chimes in.
I haven't talked to Charlie in a while, or he hasn't talked to me. Yeah, I'm sure I'll see him around this fall somewhere. But Yeah, I don't know. Being from Ohio, the biggest struggle that I faced being on the Elite Series and being from where I'm at in Ohio is like we look at the pre-spawn, for instance, in the South, like Tennessee, Alabama. Like back in Ohio, like we don't have a pre-spawn. Like we don't have fish staging. We have just cold, high, muddy water. And then all of a sudden you snap your fingers and it's 100 degrees summertime. Like our spawn feels like it lasts like 5 days. Our pre-spawn, or there's no such thing as pre-spawn. And that was the biggest learning curve for me on the Elite
Just
Series.
completely skips Ohio.
Yeah, pretty much. But you go down south and you got like the
Go
whole
from winter to spawning in a day.
Yeah, literally. But you go down south and like March in the south, like they're set up on stuff. They're in pre-spawn mode. They're on the 45-degree bank, transition banks where like our pre-spawn in Ohio is literally like 50-degree, 4 inches of visibility, and then you snap your fingers and it's just June and July and it's just the dog days of summer already.
You said you were going through the process of boat and motor deal for the first time in your career.
Yeah.
Like, how do you even like approach that? Is that literally where you're like, hello, my name is Alex Redwine and I fish the Bassmaster Elite Series. I am reaching out because I am interested in possibly running your boat this year. Please call me back. Sincerely, Alex. Or do you just like meet people along the way that's like, hey man, I can get you hooked up with this guy and he runs the pro staff, or she does that?
Pretty much. It just kind of sucks. Or the one thing that I've kind of like seen so far is like it's like because this is my first year, yeah, like doing the whole boat and motor deal, and it's just kind of and it's like I'm qualified for the classic. Like I feel like that has some sort of credibility and like a big deal with it. But it's just kind of tough because it's almost easy to get treated as like, oh, like this is your first year going through this process. And it's like, yeah, this is my first year going through this process, but like this is also my fourth year fishing professionally. Like this isn't my first go around. Like it's my first go around like getting a boat, but it's not my first go around fishing professionally. Like I feel like that, and qualifying for the classic, like I feel like there should be some sort of credibility for that. But yeah, it's where this market and industry is. It's not easy on old Redwine.
Yeah, you and David have a lot in common. He says I play pickleball and he also needs a new boat.
He can buy he can buy my boat. It has 1,000 hours on it, but trust me, like it's got the warranty. It is a good lemon. I have not had a single issue with anything on my boat.
So are you like close to doing a deal, or you got a couple balls in the air right now?
Yeah, I got I think a motor situation figured out, and then I've been in the Phoenix the last few years. I'm hoping to stay in the Phoenix, but still just trying to navigate all that and figure out the best situation for me. So, yeah.
I was gonna say if I don't know. I know you probably don't want to announce the motor situation, but if that doesn't pan out on Temu, here's an outboard for $695. It's the Hangkai 12 horsepower right there. You just strap that sucker to the back of the vessel. You are off and rolling.
All right, I'll keep that in mind.
$695. Sure. I do not think you're going to find a better outboard deal than that.
That's true. I don't know what brand is it? I'm not sure if we have service crews for that.
You don't think the Hangkai, Hangkai? That's got to be a Chinese motor, doesn't it?
I guess I'll just have a couple backups in the truck in case.
Yeah, you could have 3 or 4 backups in the truck for that. You know what? I've never actually gone down this road. And it is
you're addicted now. You're invested.
Yeah, no, I'm totally invested. I'm trying to figure out like there's some of this stuff can't be legit. There's no way it could be legit. Like there's absolutely no way you could do a 80 horse Honda for $700. I don't see how that's possible, do you? Oh, here's some more dice. Oh, this was one I wanted to show you. This one came across. You think this is the new trend? Look at those bad boys.
Floating flies?
It's like 4 bobbers together with like a sparkle tail. Ryan Harvey says, we all know Alex is running a Tahatsu 250 next year. All right, dude. Anything else?
Not a whole lot. No, I'm just in the middle. Every year I try to stay on top of the whole off-season sponsorships, getting all my cards in line. But this year I'm trying to stay on top of it. But no, not a whole lot else. Just trying to make a name for myself, trying to compete in professional bass fishing, trying to stick around for a while, and trying to keep fishing for a while and just be a credible name and grow my brand. If anyone on here feels obligated, social media is just, every time you talk to sponsors, oh well, we want you to grow your social media. So if anyone on here wants to help out my social media, and because that seems to be all that sponsors care about nowadays. Is social media. So Alex Redwine Fishing, you can follow me. So I guess I'll plug myself. But besides that, I'm just gonna keep fishing around the house, get on my smallmouth fix here soon, and start looking forward to next year, 2025, and the Classic and everything like that.
I like it. I'm serious. Like I know I'm like saying it to be funny, but I'm serious. Like you approach a pickleball company. You do the rep, you get like a group of 5 or 6 of you guys that are on the Elite Series. Airy, Scott Martin, is Hunter Shryock one of them?
He wasn't there when we played at
No,
Champlain,
he's just just maybe comes across as a pickleballer. Throw Jay in the mix. Is Jay a pickle? Do you play with Jay?
No, so Champlain, I like asked him, I was about to leave the house and he was like, where are you going? I was like, I'm gonna go play pickleball. And he's like, with who? And I told him with who. He's like, oh, like, no, I'm fine. I don't think he's ever played before, so maybe I should.
Dude, you got to get him on the pickle. He could turn into an animal on the pickleball court. He could just be like, oh, like that could be what unleashes. He's got to have so much pent up energy after that. Like he's the only guy who can catch 100 pounds of smallmouth and just do a single fist pump. He's got to have a lot of pent up energy. Maybe pickleball is that outlet.
I've seen his competitive bass fishing side, but I've never seen his competitive like sports, like real.
But anyway,
side.
You approach these pickleball companies, and you do like a pickleball night along the way. You know, like guys stop at like the boat dealerships or the tackle shops, and like everywhere you go, you find where the pickleball court is. You go there, you do a meet and greet. You play pickleball with fellow anglers who like to pickleball it up. Guaranteed you'll be the only one who approaches them from that industry. It might just be off the wall enough to get a little pickleball sponsorship going.
Yeah, I'll look into it for sure. Yeah.
If you do, I want you to announce the pickleball sponsorship on BTL.
Okay.
I'm dead serious.
You gonna help me out with this, or like help me find some contacts and stuff?
Dude, I didn't even know what pickleball was before this. You live in that world. I don't. I had to look at it on YouTube to see what it was.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I want you to announce that, and if it like we could have some cool stuff coming because I had Zona on a couple weeks ago. This was before Williams went on the tech. So Caleb Williams used to play for OU before he went to USC where he won. But, you know, he paints his nails. He painted him at OU too. And I got Zona to agree to, if they went on like a 3-game winning streak from the time he was on the show, he is going to paint his nails live, just like Caleb Williams on BTL. And I reminded him of that after they won this past Sunday, and he's completely on board with it.
Oh, yeah. I would announce it. Like we can have like a breaking news episode, like Redwine lands deal with
like what's
pickleball.
The biggest, like what's a big pickleball company?
Either Jewel or a company called Selkirk.
How do you spell that?
SELKIRK, I think. I might be wrong.
Is it a paddle company?
They make paddles and pickleballs.
Selkirk Pickleball. SELKIRK. There it is right there. Oh, we are pickleball. Let's see. Is that it right there?
Yeah. They're a big name.
Oh, that's a cool logo.
Ooh.
Ooh, like, could you imagine like a carbon fiber wrap with the Selkirk logo on it? Look at that. Like that, dude, there's some Look at how happy everybody is that are pickleballing. Ooh, I like that pink and black design right there.
Yeah.
Material, shape, construction. Yeah, dude. If these guys have this, look at that. They got their own app, Selkirk TV app. Oh, these guys have to be rolling in marketing dollars. As seen on Forbes, CNBC, Sports Illustrated. There's a pickleball magazine. Oh, the PPA is the pickleball tour. Were you aware of that?
Yeah. They have tournaments in Cincinnati. They've had a few tournaments in Cincinnati, the same courts that I play on.
Do you go cheer them on, like paint your chest?
No, I'm not that invested. I'm just a recreational player that just likes it. I don't know. I'm a weekend warrior in the bass fishing world.
Like
I'm
BFL level.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm a weekend warrior.
He said, "Holy cow! I dropped out for." Listen, we literally you missed the fishing part. We circled back. The keyword is circled back to pickleball. Try to tie a bow on the end of the show here. I was. Look at that. That is a serious pickleball fit. Look at the joy in the pickleballers. I might have to go out and pull a hammy. Get my pickleball fix on because I'm a big ping ponger.
You've never played it, or do you know anyone that plays it? I think you need to get introduced to it.
Just you. Just you. All right, I'm gonna let you go. I enjoyed the heck out of this show, Alex. Yeah, drop your socials one more time for those who want to follow.
Yeah, it's just Alex Redwine Fishing. I'm trying to grow that stuff because sponsors like big social media, and I don't have YouTube, whatever. I don't know, but yeah, Alex Redwine Fishing. Message me if you guys have any pickleball questions or smallmouth questions, or you want to buy my boat with 1,000 hours. Trust me, it's a good boat. It's a good boat. There's no stress.
What is it? Name what's on it. Kind of what
So
model the whole night. Sell it to me.
So it's a 2021 Phoenix 921 Elite that I've had since I got it the year that I qualified for the elites. It's literally a good boat. Like the motor it has 1,000 hours on it, and I've only been through one lower unit, Mercury 254 stroke. I've only had only one lower unit has gone bad on it. Besides that, like it is a good boat. Like I'd use it again next year if I wasn't like possibly switching up motors or boats or anything like that. Like I'd use it again, honestly, to save money, but it's going to be below 50 grand. We can negotiate things, but it's got fully loaded. It's got 5 12-inch graphs, but yeah, it's a good boat.
Nice.
Good colors, but yeah.
What color is it?
It's like a black with like some charcoal gray, and it's pretty sleek. But if anyone has any questions, social media, just shoot me a message, and I'll send you some more pictures and try to sell it a little bit. I'll even, if someone buys the boat, I'll invite them to Ohio and they can play pickleball with me.
I love it. An evening of pickleball with Alex Redwine.
We can have a fishing lesson and a pickleball lesson.
I love it. All right, dude. I'm gonna let you go. Thanks for jumping on BTO.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
All right. See ya. That is Alex Redwine. Good dude. 3 years in. Amazing how far he's come from that third place finish in the Northern Open. I've told this story before on BTL, but he was standing there like I was standing there because I was one of the guys like you can tell who needs to get their check based on who's like waiting in line for the check line at the end of the Open. So I'd finished like 30th in that tournament or something. I was waiting on my check, and Alex is just frenetically pacing back and forth. And he's like, "My God, I think I just made the freaking Elite Series." That was the year that I think Ike made it back in. I think they all had like 579 points or 49. It was something ridiculous. But he did it up there on Thousand Islands, and then 3 years later, fishing his first Bassmaster Classic. So that's all we have for today. But like I said, a double show. I'll put Alex's show out, and then this afternoon, Dakota Ebear jumps on the show. I recorded that last night, which would have been Monday night. Talks about, dude, what he did, what Dakota Ebear did. There's no other word to describe it. Ballsy. And the dude was making $250,000 a year over on MLF. And he actually, I don't know if he's ever told this story before, but he actually like goes into the moment that he decided I need to go chase the Opens and the Elite Series. Spoke very highly of MLF, his time on the BPT, what it did for him in his career was simply just a personal decision. But dude, like when you hear the story of how that went down and how quickly it happened and what you're like, what? You're like, wait, what? It's cool stuff. And then tomorrow, Tucker Smith, half of the $1 million duo that is now, I sounded like a rodeo announcer there. He's a $1 million cowboy. Part of the $1 million duo. Now both of those guys, Logan Parks and Tucker Smith, who teamed up a couple years ago for the Johnny Morris's U.S. Open that took place on Table Rock Lake. They won the $1 million. Now they're both on the Elite Series, so we'll talk to Tucker about that. And speaking of the U.S. Open, 2 more days tomorrow. Possibility that we have Dan O'Sullivan live from the U.S. Open on Lake Mojave to talk about what's going on as they head into the final day there. So big shout out to Alex Redwine. And that's all we got for today. Same place, same time for another live show tomorrow on Wednesday. See ya.